Thanks for this opportunity to present a bylaw to better document archaeological and historical assets here in our town of Acton. At the time of this video, it was Warrant Article 10, and it's a product of the work of the Acton Historical Commission. And then members are listed there on the slide. I am Bob Ferrara, second from the bottom, and it's my pleasure to talk to you today. Now, just a quick summary of what the Archaeology of Acton. We've listed the historical periods there that are of interest. This bylaw actually applies to all of them. And in each case, in each of those periods, we have a significant amount of good things to preserve and record. And one particularly important one that a lot of people are aware of, but not all of us here in Acton, was the Pine Hawk discovery in South Acton. When we were building the sewer plant back in the late 90s, a archaeological survey was required by the federal government, who was supplying some of the funds, and they hit the mother lode. The site revealed over 3,000 artifacts dating back as far as 7,000 years. It's actually the best Middle Archaic site in the state of Massachusetts, so it's quite a nice surprise. That work was overseen by a town employee by the name of Doug Haley. Many of you may know him. He was an employee for many, many years. And subsequent to that, he oversaw that work, and then as a kind of a flowing out of that, he also worked on a archaeological survey of the entire town, so to find out where we might find more. And that survey was done in 2008, and one of the requirements, or one of the strong recommendations, I should say, was please pass a bylaw to help protect what you know can be out there. Doug did that, and unfortunately, the timing wasn't great. That was in 2008 when, if you recall, in 2008, 2009, the economy just took a downward spiral, and it got pushed to the back burner, where it has sat for over a decade now. But then in 2019, not long after I joined the Historical Commission, the group felt we should really try to revive that and start working on it. And so we had a bunch of stakeholder interviews, and then we brought it to the selectmen in 2020 there. And they really encouraged us to go for it, improve on what was already done and take it further. And I did review a lot of the other towns' bylaws. Acton's was very good, however, it's evolved since then, and I think it's an even better product than the one that was produced in 2008. And most importantly, the selectmen said work with town council, who you really need if you're going to draft a proper bylaw. And we couldn't quite get things ready in time for the town meeting last year, but we did accomplish one important thing, and that was to get some funding from the community preservation allocated for preliminary studies that might come out of this bylaw, that might be required or triggered by this bylaw. We also, the planning department, we formed a great partnership with them. They've worked with us on several public forums, and also we did a townwide survey that got quite a healthy response and a lot of interest. So we thanks for all of the work with them, and also the selectmen have given us another push, and the Economic Development Committee we met with most recently, they voted to support it as well. Now I mentioned the survey by PAL, Professional Archaeology Laboratories. They this is one of the best firms in New England. In fact, they have an exceptional reputation. And a gentleman by the name of Duncan Ritchie is the principal, and he oversaw the creation of these two maps I'm showing you now, showing you the first of the two of them. This one was created for the pre-contact areas. Now this is before Europeans were here. Goes back several millennia. And the areas that are in the dark orange, if you will, I guess that's orange, those areas that are high sensitivity, and you're very likely to find something. The softer orange is moderate sensitivity. So those are the areas that the survey focused on and felt that were highly likely to contain things from the pre-contact period. By the way, these maps are, both that map and this map are on the town's website. They're available to the public. You can actually overlay them with other, with the property lines and other features that are contained in the GIS database. And this, now we're looking at the post-European contact map. You can see a lot more, it's actually a lot more high sensitivity areas that are in the dark purple. A lot of those are industrial areas in the early days of Acton's history, like around the River Street Dam, the pencil factory, and the corridor going up one of the, I guess that's Route 27. I would call your attention to one feature, though, one thing that's pretty important in this post-contact period as well that does bear on the Native American aspects of this. And that's the area in the upper left-hand corner around Nagog Pond and Fort Pond in Littleton. What you should appreciate is that the whole town of Littleton was formerly a praying village created by the Massachusetts General Court in the 1650 time frame. It's one of 16 villages throughout the state that, or throughout the Commonwealth, that were created by the General Court to work with the Native Americans to adopt European ways. Some did and many did not. And there's still many of them here too. And we've also I should mention also, it's important to mention, we have consulted with the Neshoba band of the Massachusetts tribe on this bylaw, and they gave it a blessing, which was important. Now, the last map I'm going to show you combines the two that you just saw, plus another number of other layers in the town's database. And what it's showing you in the green are areas that are particularly large areas that could be, that are in sensitive areas, archaeologically sensitive areas, excuse me. And you can see it does not include public land or conservation areas. There's no wetlands shown here because, or not shown in green, because there's already restrictions on building there. The town centers and the historic districts are, of course, already taken out of this. They're in the non-green area, if I could call it that. And really what we're after is just the large tracts. What we want to find are large tracts of undisturbed land. That's where we're in these areas. So those are the two criteria that we're frankly using. A lot of what we're saying boils down to that. It will not affect, the lion's share of people in this town, but in those areas we do have a reasonable suspicion that there could be something of big interest there. Maybe not another pine hawk, but something like that warrants further study. So anyway, to summarize, these are the key design parameters that we headed for. Again, focus on larger tracts of undisturbed land. We worked very closely with the planning department to integrate into the town building permit. This is not a separate process. This will be an integral part, if the town passes it, of the building permitting process. You saw the triggers are very explicit. And when those are triggered, and we don't think, there'll be very few cases where that you have a large tract that it fits those conditions. There will be a preliminary study paid for by the town. Should that reveal, and that's paid for, I should say, by the community preservation funds, if after the walkthrough, the professional archaeologist in the preliminary study deems that there may be something really there, we would then work with the landowner and negotiate another further follow-on actions. It is voluntary for the owner as well, the property owner. I should mention that. And there are very specific limits at every step. We all fit within the normal permitting guidelines. So anyway, I hope we've done a good job of balancing all the interests, but yet getting us a better head start, if you will, on really understanding all the archaeology in our town and preserving what's important. We've had terrific support from lots and lots of people and lots of public boards. We thank you, and the Economic Development Commission most recently. Anyway, we very much appreciate your support. So thank you very much.